I know that on this channel I'm a little bit late to the party sometimes. It's because I like to let stories accrue, then come in and film them all in the one go. Because I'm not here to give you your news like as it happens. I just like to give you my take on it. Pardon me. And a lot of people seem interested in my takes, which is why they watch me on this channel. But this is stupid. I'm not even just saying that. I'm not even just saying this from like a right wing perspective or anything like that. Of Martin Luther King, it looks like crap. Like this is like objective now. This looks like crap. This is stupid. This is really stupid. This bloody statue. It's a strange moment we live in. MLK sculptor on backlash to monument. The Embrace, a 19-ton bronze depicting Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King, and a love that helped change the world, has inspired praise, jokes, and bile. The 22 feet tall, 19-ton bronze sculpture unveiled last Friday in Boston, The Embrace, depicts two pair of arms wrapped in a hug. Those of Martin Luther King Jr. and his wife, Coretta Scott King, and you can actually see the picture that they used to like show the hug. So I get what he was going for. Right, I understand what he was going for. It's a detail pulled from a famous photo of the couple embracing, and to the artist Hank Willis Thomas, a representation of how their love catalysed a mass movement that changed the world. The sculpture was installed near where King led 22,000 people at a 1965 Freedom Rally on land that was once part of a black neighbourhood, now gone, that had been one of the oldest in the country. The significance wasn't lost on guests at the unveiling, who included participants in the civil rights movement, some nearly 100 years old. Many onlookers were in tears, organisers say, and the piece drew praise from the King's son, Martin Luther King III, who told CNN that the artist did a great job. We Junior there's just been nice. Yet some online viewers of the sculpture had a different reaction. Photographs taken from certain angles made one of the civil rights leaders' arms look like a penis, and it does. It does. It looks like arms holding up. It looks like my wife. Funny. It does. It looks like that. That's what it looks like. Or holding up like a big shit. I'd like the statue should be called "Turd Held Aloft." Right, that is what it looks like. The comedian Leslie Jones picked up the sculpture, looked like the late civil rights leader performing a sex act on his wife. It also does kind of look like legs, you know, where someone's munching on the clam chowder. If this was just about an optical illusion, the story might have ended there, but the conflict almost immediately took a political turn after the sculpture was blasted by an unexpected source. The Auckland activist Seneca Scott, a former Bay Area Labour organiser and a cousin of Coretta Scott King. In a short essay published in Compact magazine the morning after the unveiling, Scott highlighted the phallic comparisons before calling the sculpture an egregious example of the woke machine's callousness and vanity that would bring few, if any, tangible benefits to struggling black families. Which is, yeah, that's got a point. Statues like these, he added, are part of the same performative altruism and purity pageants that are mainstays of the woke left. Now, even from that, it looks like one of the bosses from the forest. Like it does. I'm sorry. Like I'll save it for the end. The broadside earned him a headline in the conservative New York Post and a 3-minute live interview with the Fox News host Tucker Carlson, who broke into a grin as Scott accused the sculpture of wasting public funds and mocking people struggling to afford groceries. That's exactly right, Carlson replied. It's not art, it's a middle finger. Just days into its public life, the Embrace was becoming a kind of political litmus test, but what do its creators think? It's a strange thing, the moment that we live in, that we are more inspired to talk about silly things than something as serious as the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. Yes, I would say that his legacy is something that should be taken seriously. So don't make a statue that looks like someone holding up a giant shit or a giant penis in his name. When I said giant penis there, I had Nam flashbacks. Thomas said on Wednesday, Thomas speaking to me on a Zoom call alongside other non-profit workers of colour. Workers of colour. All right. Who helped realise the project. The mood was subdued, even a little tense. He objected. Sorry, I've got a tiny bit of a cold because it's winter, my child's at nursery, and anything, all it takes is one kid in the nursery to get sick, and then the whole nursery gets sick, and then the kids come back home and give it to all the parents. See when we were at the nursery to pick her up the other day, we met all the other parents, every single fucking one of them have the exact same fucking thing. Ah, and my wife's pregnant, so I need to get up like 8 times during the night. It's fantastic. It's great. And the baby's coming soon, so that's gonna get a lot more. That's gonna get a lot worse. Oh, joys. Wouldn't trade it for the world, though. Conservatives and liberal are reductive terms that are divide and conquer strategies. I would say, yeah, okay, I would say that. He said, and that's part of the issue this piece is addressing. That is, can we embrace one another? He declined to respond to Scott. Respond. I don't feel like other than sending Seneca love and gratitude for highlighting the embrace. Thomas explained he had originally trained as a photographer, which sparked a fascination with the context behind famous civil rights photographs, what was included in the frame and what was left out. He explored the hidden details lurking within the image that could make a photo unexpectedly powerful. That's why he focused on the King's Arms, an embodiment of the beloved community, a term that the civil rights leader often used to describe a just society where everyone's needs could be met. He conceded there was some irony in how online viewers saw the piece so differently. That's what my work is about. Photographs distort the truth. Had that photograph been taken from a different angle, I might have seen something different. Okay, he's got a little bit of a point. But he and others who helped realise the project strongly rejected any characterisations of the Embrace as an empty gesture. Mary Paris Jeffries, the director of Embrace Boston, the non-profit formed in 2018 to fund the statue, said that the artwork was fully paid for by private donations, not taxpayer money. Well, that's fine. I would like to see what the private donators think of the statue. Because, I mean, if I was, like, donating money and this guy just unveiled this man-made horror beyond my comprehension, I'd be like, what is the fuck? This is what you spent my money on? Like, I'll save it for the end. I'll save it for the end what they should have done, right? Their goal was to not only use the sculpture as a visual reminder of justice, but as a catalyst for concrete local change. Since 2020, the group has distributed $1 million to the 12th Baptist Church, a historic abolitionist church where the Kings met, and a relief centre during the pandemic. $370,000 in grants to dozens of community non-profits and social justice efforts, and $25,000 to groups organising Juneteenth activities, with more giving planned in the future. The hope, Jeffrey said, was to get beyond a zero-sum mindset that when things happen where people of colour receive something, they think something else was taken away, versus an abundance approach where this happened and then this happened also. As for the backlash to the statue, I'm not bothered by it, he said. We expected as activists and organisers that there was always going to be detractors from the movement. I think about Mrs. King's quote that the beloved community is about not holding bitterness when there's disagreement. Scott, for his part, told The Guardian his reaction had come from a place of grief. There was a grief that Coretta's face wasn't included. She was particularly beautiful. She had a regal, iconic face. Then there was his resentment over non-profits. After working at a union, he felt prioritised political ideology over its own rank and file. He looked up Embrace's slick website, and I know people who come from DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion, specialties in corporate America, when I see it, and he felt angry. So he fired off an article he knew would get a rise out of people. This is why I use words like woke every time you write an article. Editors ask me to use more wokes in the article. You can say progressive, but they'll change it to woke, because they know the more wokes are in an article, the more people love them. It's a buzzword that gets clicks. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? We are starting to become the rage bait now. How about that? But that was 4 days ago. When I wrote that, I was in the anger part of grief. Now I've accepted the grief. He has also discovered that the sculpture wasn't paid for with public funds, as he's assumed, which makes him not nearly as upset. Right. I'm just checking to see if we can get to the end. It's quite a long article. Scott's voice grew animated as he described his community work in Oakland. He's particularly passionate about creating parallel structures outside of mainstream politics to develop sustainable local farming that he calls soil-based economics. Economies. Sorry, it's late here. I've been working all day. You can always tell I do these videos at the end of the day. By the way, that's why I'm always like tired and beat in them, and I'm not as energetic as I used to be. His passion for Oakland was reminiscent of Embrace's feelings for Boston, and I wondered if there hadn't simply been a misunderstanding. So I asked Scott if he could imagine connecting with Embrace, and he said yes. People are going to forget about the statue in a week, he said, so what could happen in a week or two is that our organisations from coast to coast could find some common ground and maybe be able to help each other create better neighbourhoods. I asked Jeffries if he'd like to connect with Scott, and he immediately agreed. I think sometimes the way that structural racism works, it pits leaders and families families against each other with partial information to sensationalize something, versus bringing together people who probably have a lot of common ground, he said. But all of us have a way in which Dr. King has influenced us, and it'd be great if Seneca came to Boston and we could show him the memorial and he could see it for himself. from only a specific angle, I'm guessing. Now, right, in regards to the statue, private money, the city gave you permission to put the statue up, whatever, like, do it, have fun, right? Now, this is the reason is, I wouldn't have cared. Now, this is what I'll say. This is what they should have done. If it was the whole body, they had the whole bodies and it was them doing the embrace and they were smiling, the smiling kind of conservative, because a lot of people don't know this, but fucking King was a little bit conservative, just a little. The smiling conservative black family and stuff like that. They're smiling and it's the embrace of them like hugging each other. Then whatever, that'd be fine. Whatever, or even if it's just, and there are statues like this in a bunch of places, just Martin Luther King, standing there proud, like looking up at the sky and all that type of stuff. And to me, like, that's a statue, right? Okay, then you want to show reverence to a man. There's a statue of him standing there looking proud. I mean, of course, that's what you would do for a statue. This is an insult, right? I'm sorry, like I know that you know that I'm not left wing, you know that I'm not down with any of that BLM stuff or anything like that, but to those of you that are, you should be fucking angry. You should be angry at this. Like, this is a joke. This is like parody, almost. It looks like an abomination. And it's like, okay, private money, private people, blah blah blah. They can have whatever statue they want, but like. And it's dumb, it's stupid, and from certain angles it does look like it's holding up a giant penis or a giant turd. That is what it looks like. I'm sorry. Which is why I think this is kind of insulting. And a lot of those, believe it or not, I talk to leftists because I talk to fucking everyone, right? And they were even all going like, yeah, this is dumb. This is stupid. We don't like this. If it was just a statue, nobody would have cared. Like, just Martin Luther King standing there, full body, suit on, a standard statue, nobody would have gave a shit. But instead, you got whatever the hell this is. Right? Now, even if it was, like, a statue of someone that I fucking, like, hated, like Cromwell, nobody, like, see on these islands, apart from some places in England, nobody fucking likes Cromwell. But if they went, here is a statue celebrating Cromwell and his domination of Ireland and the Celts and all this stuff, and they unveiled it, and it was like a thalidomide orangutan self-filleting, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, even if it was someone I hated, I'd be like, that's not a statue. How does that pay reverence to the man? That just looks stupid. That's dumb. That's some artsy-fartsy crap. Right? And that's what this is, artsy-fartsy crap. That is, I'm sorry. This was, I mean, you had Pridey Place in, like, the centre of, like, a major city, and you did whatever the hell that is. It's dumb. It's stupid. And it's one of the things I'm noticing that right and left are united upon. At first, like, the right were laughing at the left, going, ha ha ha, your new statue looks dumb, until the left came out and went, no, we hate it as well. It's fucking stupid. Like, so now there's been, there you go, we've found some common ground. And I would say, right, if this was taxpayer money, I would say to BLM and everybody else, get that stripped down, send it fucking back, and get a proper fucking statue, right? But, private investors, private property, they can have this there if they want. I just don't think it got across the message that you wanted to send.